Hello and welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are going to be making a mechanic from Alice Madness Returns, and the mechanic is basically just that you shrink down into a specific size that you want, and we also hide and show decals on the walls based on if you are shrunk. So this is basically what we're going to be making. Right now you can see that we have a decal here that is invisible, and we have a tiny hole that we cannot get through. Now if I hold down left control, it's going to show up our Alice decal on the wall, and if we walk over there you can also see that we can go through it. It does also scale down the speed of your character so that it looks more natural. It also handles the camera distance and everything so that the world actually does look a bit smaller, larger compared to your relative size. And without further ado, let us just get started with the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in a second. Okay, let us just get started. Now basically most of it is going to happen inside our player character, so go ahead into your content drawer, search up your player character. For me, that's the third person character, and I'm going to dock that up there. Now I'm going to use left control to trigger this. So left control, just right click anywhere and type in left control, and when we left control, we're going to want to go into a timeline. We're going to have some stuff between the left control and the timeline, but let's start with the timeline. So right click, add timeline, and I'm going to call this my scale up down timeline. Now you can double click that timeline, set the length up the top left here to 1, hit the plus, and add a float track. This is going to be my scale up down float. Right click on the curve, add a key, and do that again. Select the first key, set the time to 0 and the value to 0. The second key, set the time to 1 and the value to 1. Compile, and you can close out of that timeline. So when we press it, we're going to hit play, not play from start or anything, just play. And then we're going to reverse it when we release. So you're just going to put it into play and reverse so that it will seamlessly go through the timeline how you would expect it to be. Once you have your timeline set up, out of the update, we're going to get our capsule component, and we're going to set world transform on the update of our capsule component. Now what do we want to set it to? Well, we want to keep the location, and we want to keep the rotation, so we need to get that. So get the world transform of your capsule component, and you can split that and plug in the location and the rotation, because as I said, we want to keep that the same. The only thing we want to change is the scale value. So what are we going to change the scale value to? Well, we're going to make a new variable. So add a new variable in the bottom left here, and I'm going to call it my original scale vector. And as you guessed, that's a vector. And I'm also going to categorize this to change size. Compile that. Our original scale vector, if you go to your capsule component, it's 1, 1, 1. So we're going to set it to 1, 1, 1. And now you can get your original scale vector. You can get your original scale vector, and you can lerp that vector. The return value goes into the new transform scale, and keep in mind this is going to update. This is going to set the world transform on each update. So every time something changes, it's going to keep doing it. And that's how you're going to get a smooth transition. We want to lerp from our original scale vector of 1, 1, 1 to a value at the B here. So we're going to get our original scale vector, and we're going to divide that. What do we want to divide it to? We want to divide it by a float. So I'm just going to control D while I select this so we continue in the same category. And I'm going to call it my new scale size division. And that's going to be a float. You can set this to whatever you want. I'm going to set it to 5. So it's going to be 1 divided by 5, so 0.2. You can drag that out, and you can plug it into your division, and it's going to transform that automatically. call that, and that is our B value. So that's our lerp vector, and of course the alpha is the float. Let's move this out. I'm going to actually try to keep this tidy. So already now we can test this, right? So let's go into our, just hit play, and you can see that we are actually transforming. However, if I go to my capsule component and I search for hidden in game and I remove that, you can see that it doesn't change the capsule. So we need to update that as well. Out of our update, after we set the world transform of our capsule component, we are gonna just get our capsule component and we're gonna set the capsule size and keeping update overlaps on. Now this is going to be a fixed setting, so the radius, you can see here, the radius of our capsule component is 35 and the half height is 90, so we're going to set that here as well. Now if you hit play, you can see that it does actually change according to our player character. There's another thing that we need to take into consideration. You can see that we are suddenly very small, and that doesn't really bode well for our perspective, and also we're running really fast. So let's change the distance to our player first. After you have changed your capsule component, the size of the capsule, you're going to get your camera boom, and we're going to set target arm length of that. And what are we going to set the target arm length to? Well, we're going to make a new variable, a new float, so just hit the new scale size division and Control D, and it's going to be our original arm length. And what do we want to set the original arm length to? Well, we want to go into our camera boom, and you can see that we have our target arm length here of 400. So let's get our variable set to 400. But of course we don't want to just set it to 400 because that would change nothing here. We want to set it to a lerp. Let's just grab, actually let's just type in lerp. Now we got a float lerp. Move it out, make it a bit prettier. Return node goes into the target arm length, like so. The A value is our original arm length. The B value is our original arm length divided by our new scale size division, because we want to move this in an equal amount to what we are scaling ourselves down. And the alpha again is the alpha from our timeline. So now if we hit play, you can see that we are moving in with it. We're still running ridiculously fast, so we're just going to do a quick fix to this and change the movement, the max walk speed as well. In order to do that, we're going to get our character movement. We're going to set max walk speed. And now we're going to steal the lerp from our previous one here. We're just going to take that and yoink it in here like so. Now we're going to duplicate this original arm length, and we're going to set it to be, change the name to be original walk speed. And that should be 400, I believe. Go into your character movement. Max walk speed. That's 500. So change it to 500. And grab your original walk speed. Plug that into A. Take your original walk speed and divide it by our new scale size division. And again, the alpha comes from our timeline, like so. So now it's gonna look a bit wonky because we are actually slowing down, but that is something that you can fix yourself. We are just reducing the movement speed so that we can actually walk according to our size and everything, basically. Okay, now that we have this set up, I also, because we are following, we're basically just trying to replicate Alice Madness Returns, the game. There was a shrink effect there that you could do. And when you did that, you also got a little post-process effect going on. We're just going to make a very simple post-process just to illustrate. So get your post-process out. And I'm just going to call it my shrink post-process. For me, I'm just going to get the temperature. So search up temperature. And I'm going to change it to from white balance to color temperature. I'm going to change the temperature to be 2000, so it's a warm color. And I'm just going to add a tint of like 0.1 or something like that. So now if we hit play, that is going to be our tint and our post process. However, I don't want this to be enabled by default, so I'm just going to go into and search enable on our post process volume here and disable that. Now, as I said, we were going to add some things before our timeline, so let's get our left control all the way out here. Let us get our shrink post process set enabled. So on pressed, we're going to enable that. Remember to tick it. And on released, we're going to disable that. Like so. So now if I play, it's just going to enable our post process like so. Another thing that we need to handle is decals, or whatever the fuck, how you say it. I don't know. So in the game, when you do become tiny, like sometimes a hidden message or something can appear on a wall. So let us work on that. Now I'm going to go into my content folder here, and I'm going to right click and I'm going to create a new folder. And it's going to be, what did I name this project? Shrinker YouTube. And I'm always adding a little color to the main project folder. And inside of Shrinker YouTube, I'm going to make two new folders. The first one is going to be blueprints. And the second one is going to be decals. Inside of blueprints, I'm going to make a new blueprint class. It's going to be an actor. I'm going to call it my BP decal master. And we can open that up. Now the decal master is just going to have a collision box and a decal. Decal, I don't know. So let's add a box collision, like so. You can leave it as is. And then let's add a decal. Never going to figure that out. So the decal is going to start out with a visibility of hidden. And that is basically it for that. Now, let us just clean up this world a little bit, and I'll be right back. So I've cleaned up the world a little bit, and I'm just going to add a simple wall, like so. This is going to be for our decal. But if you try to place your decal, I don't know how to say it, fucking hell, I'm not even going to try it. If you try to place it, it's not really going to do anything. First of all, the size is too big and everything, so, but nothing is actually showing, and that is because we don't have any decal material. So let us make that. Into your content drawer, into your decals folder, we're going to add two new folders. It's going to be, one is going to be image files, and the second one is going to be materials. Inside of image files, I'm going to import a texture from the game. Not really from the game, but like represents the game. And I'm just going to leave it as is. Inside of materials, I'm going to add a new material. I'm going to call it m_Alice decal, like so. And I'm going to open that up. The very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure I'm selected on this. And I'm going to go to material domain, and I'm going to change it to deferred decal. And the blend mode is going to be translucent. And now we can just simply get our image file and plug in the nodes. So I'm just going to grab the base color for the RGB, and the alpha is opacity, and I can apply that. Now if I go into the world, select my decal master here, and then select the decal over here, I can get my m_Alice decal, and see that it's not working because it's actually not visible. So let's get our visibility. And it's a bit wonky, so let's just rotate that and scale it. You can see that it's showing up at the behind. So let's make the snap size down a little bit and then move it out of the back of the cube, because we only want it to be shown in front. But if I play now, it's going to be visible regardless if I'm in shrunk mode or whatever. So let us fix that. In your decal master again, remove the visibility. If I play, it's not going to be there. Go into your third person character. Let us right click anywhere you want and add a new custom event. I'm going to call this my decal visibility, decal vis on, and I'm going to do custom event decal vis off. After our enabled on our play timeline, we're going to do decal vis on, and the opposite, decal vis off. How are we gonna find out what decals we want to enable? Because if you have a big world, you don't want to enable everything in the entire world, right? So we're going to add a collision here. We're going to add a sphere collision. You can do any collision you want, and I'm going to call it my decal sphere collision. Remove hidden in game because I want to see it, and let's go to the viewport and just scale this up. I'm gonna lock the scale and I'm gonna do 100. This is quite large. So what are we gonna do with this? Well, we are gonna check what things are inside of this box. So get our decal sphere collision, get the overlapping actors, and find your BP decal master. I'm gonna right click the array that we are finding and I'm gonna promote that to decal actors array. I can move that into my change size, I guess, and plug that in like so. Then what we're going to do is we're going to do a for each loop. We're going to get the array element and cast to decal master. And we're just going to get the decal, actually just set visibility, and then you can select your decal. And we're just going to set this to be visible. In order to take it off, however, we're not going to do overlapping actors, because when you scale down, you're doing that with your capsule component and everything like that. So this sphere collision also lowers down, so it's not going to be accurate. What we're going to do is get our array that we cached up here, and we're just going to copy this entire thing that we just made and change it to not visible. So if now I play, you can see that our big box is surrounding everything. The call shows and it goes away. So that is pretty much it. Let us make just a simple test so that we know that our size is actually working correctly. If I go like this and just make myself a little hole, that is actually maybe too small. No, it's actually fine. So yeah, I think that's it for this video. There was not really much else to handle. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already, let me know in the comments if you have any questions, and join our Discord. The link is in the description of the video. Okay.